Can you hear me? Excellent. I made it. Hi, my name's Chris. I'm here from a company called TrackingThis, and I'm here to talk about our new website, which is TrackingThis.com. Why is it that you can go onto Facebook and find out where your friends went on holiday and look at the photographs and all this stuff, and you can go onto Twitter and find out what they've been talking about? And yet when it comes to the entertainment industry, where you've got lots of equipment with inspection tests and histories and potentially dangerous equipment, those records are stored all over the place, particularly when you get a show where the equipment is come from different sources. You've got one hire company providing some equipment, you've got other companies providing the other equipment, and the records are spread all over the place. TrackingThis solves this. It is an internet portal. It is social media for equipment. It is a system whereby any company can put the equipment records onto an impartial portal and store all of the records, everything that you could ever want or need to know about that equipment, onto a single website. Very easy to use, very cost effective, because it's like Twitter. You don't pay to use Twitter. It's all modern technology. It's using Web 2.0. It's all new social media into our industry, basically. How does it actually work? Well, I mean, basically, you've got the website there, and when you get a piece of equipment, you get an ID for it. It's a company independent serial number. We print off little barcodes. Don't know if you can see those. I'll hand them round. And basically, you can just type that ID into the website. 358B, and hopefully, our net connection's a bit slow, it tells you everything you need to know about that sample. This is literally just a sample. In this particular instance, it's not safe for use because the PAT inspection failed. Quite how that can have a PAT inspection, I don't know. But it's a way of getting that information immediately to the people that need it most. When you go to a venue, you speak to the venue, you speak to the health and safety officers. Do they check the safety records of equipment being brought in on a tour? Of course they don't. There's hundreds of items going in. Every single thing is supposed to have a safety test. They just make sure people have done it, and maybe there's one ad hoc check, because it's not viable. If you go to the firm and say, can you give me the safety certificate for that hoist up there, they're supposed to be able to provide it, and I'm sure they can. It's in paperwork, it's in the van, but it's such an administrative burden to actually do that, they don't do it. With TrackingThis, you can turn around and say, everything's got a label, everything's got an ID, check it yourself. You don't need a fancy reader, you don't need fancy software, you don't need to have access to their company network, you don't need to go to the van and pull out the files. You just need a phone, anything with internet access on it. You can instantly see everything you need to know about that item. And it is as simple as that, really. Who's it useful for? It's useful for manufacturers. Manufacturers have a big burden at the moment. They have all the CE, the UL, LOLA inspections. They've got to have those certificates. They've got to make them available. They do that through current methods. It's doable. It's not a problem. What we're saying is TrackingThis makes it easier. It makes it cheaper. It builds a rapport between manufacturers and the end user. If an end user can go onto your lamp, type in the TrackingThis ID and see everything they need to know about that lamp. They can see the service history, they can see the warranty, when the warranty runs out. They can see the service manuals, they can see parts lists, everything they could ever possibly want to know. They can see the LOLA certificates that they need. But we're not talking about just one customer with one manufacturer. We're talking about a customer where the end customer's a couple of customers down the line, where it's come from a hire company or so on. And that's where TrackingThis is different, because it makes that information available to anybody, anywhere within the chain. Other benefits. Manufacturers, currently a bit of a problem with counterfeiting. Larger manufacturers are finding that unscrupulous people, are making fake copies of their kit. If the manufacturer puts a TrackingThis serial number on it, a TrackingThis ID, onto every item that they sell, only that manufacturer and TrackingThis know those IDs. If someone tries to rip that off and make a fake copy, it won't have an ID. If someone steals that item, it can be marked as stolen on the TrackingThis portal, and if anyone ever sees that item ever again, it's instantly blacklisted as stolen. If it hasn't got the ID, then it's clearly dodgy. There are so many benefits. Venues. Using TrackingThis, a venue could now, for the first time, say everything that goes into our venue has to be tested, has to be registered on TrackingThis. And that way, as a venue, you can make sure that everything that you are sort of responsible for, because at the end of the day, if there's 30 tons of speakers falls out of the ceiling and kills people in the audience, it's the venue that's first in line. The venue can say everything in our building is safe to use. And if something comes in that's not got an ID, it can be part of their terms and conditions. Automatic checking. Lots of kit nowadays has got RFID tags on it for inventory management, warehouse, hire in, hire out. Using TrackingThis, the serial number of that ID tag can be recorded onto the website. You can have an RFID reader in the loading bay of the O2, of Wembley Arena, of the local theatre. If you take an item into that theatre, when it goes past that RFID reader, it is automatically checked against the portal to make sure it's safe to use. If a week before someone went onto the portal and said, oh, the chain's broken, you can't use it, and they push it to one side, if that then somehow accidentally ends up going on to a job a week later, as it goes past the reader, that venue will be automatically notified without any manual intervention. No one will have had to physically check that to make sure it is safe. They can be automatically notified that that item isn't safe for use. If it had an inspection that needs renewing every year and it hasn't been renewed, same story. The owner gets notified, they can get a report. That's one of the benefits of TrackingThis, it makes it really easy. They can see what things are going to need inspections. But when it actually goes into a venue, the venue says, hang on, you've taken this into our loading bay, we've been notified that it's not safe for use. Why is the PAT test, why is the loader inspection, why is this out of date? So TrackingThis, we think, is a revolutionary way of improving safety within the industry. It is very cheap, very easy to use. Training, you don't need training. It's a web page. If it needs training, it's too complicated, we'll design it and make it simpler. Any questions?
Yeah, is it possible for an item, if I was a rental company, could I upload copies of the actual test certificates onto the website?
Yes.
So,
an item,
I could click on a
00358B. You can actually email 00358B at trackingthis.com, and it will be recorded at the bottom. I will see if I can do a demo actually. Oh dear.
Can I put a tweet on saying we broke this on a gig?
Sorry?
Can I tweet it and say we broke this on a gig, don't use it?
Basically, yes. I'm actually going to try and log in and demonstrate. Oh. This is when I can't remember the code for the item. This is what someone would see if they check their own item. That's obviously what you saw was someone anonymously checking an item that already exists. So this is me checking my iPad, just because it's my latest gadget. As you can see, we've now got options that you can do. So you can move the location. You can say it's currently in our Manchester office or it's currently in our London office. Report stolen. You can put the details in, so that marks it. If it now goes past a reader, it now says you've got an item in your loading bay that's stolen.
And only a registered user can make those modifications.
Yeah, that particular item is secured. When I actually tried to view it, it asked for a username and password because it's not a public item. There's lots of security in place. This attaching a file, uploading a file, as you said, with your safety certificates, you can just browse to the certificate, you can put it on. Any type of item can have any type of inspection. The inspections, we can set up a new type of inspection with particular specifications, particular expiries, particular document requirements in 5 minutes. Very easy. Yes, sorry.
If, for example, you wanted to query everything in lighting that was on a particular tour. So
yes.
If the tour is coming into Wembley and you want to query that, you can do that, can you?
Yes. I mean,
so my competitor can see everything that I've got on that tour.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you're doing it. I mean, in this instance, we've just got a location of off-site. You could create a location for a particular job, to say the Robbie Williams tour, and therefore when you take something onto that tour, you can just set the location. We do have a fully functional back office customer relationship management and all that element. That's outside the scope of this. That's kind of our parent company. This is quite specifically for the products, but that kind of functionality is available, yes, particularly for a company that wants to take it to that next level.